Hi everyone, this is Nancy Curry coming to you for StencilGirl. This was the project I was going to show you today. I spent a lot of time on it one day last week. I was all excited about it, but I woke up today and I decided I'm not going to show it to you. However, I decided that you should at least get to see them just for some inspiration for another project. All of these blanks I found at Joann's. I'm sure you can find them in any big box stores, or you can use punches that I'm going to be using today on the other project. Some of you may know I came years ago from the paper arts community over to mixed media, and then finally now have settled in a mixed media and painting kind of area. So this is what I was going to show you. I still like them. I like the high contrast black and tone on tone white. You could do this with any stencils that you could come up with. I used some representational and some abstract. They were really fun. I will use them on something. Obviously, I had doodads to put on top of them, or as I now call them, bits and bobs. Okay, so those were nice. But today I decided I wanted to get something else out. I am probably more well known for some of my Citra Solve artwork. So for those of you that don't know, Citra Solve is a concentrated cleaner and degreaser. I have a full class over on StencilGirl Studio that's been very popular. I also have a follow-up Facebook group where I use new media that wasn't in that particular video. So it's sort of ongoing education. So what I have here are papers. These are papers that came from a recent class I taught at a gallery in September. You wouldn't think this is anything, but I promise you it's going to be something interesting. There's another one, another one. I'm not going to actually teach you how to make the papers today, but in the blog, I will give you a couple of links where you can just get a little bit of a taste. Certainly, I'd love to have you in the class, but I know it's not for everybody. But this would be a fun thing you could also probably do with magazines that aren't done with Citra Solve. So what I'm going to do for the rest of this project, because I'm going to need to think about it while I'm doing it, is I'm going to do voiceover for that part of the video. And then I'll come back at the end and talk about what I did. So I'm getting started, kind of looking at the papers, looking at the organic marks, and figuring out which would go with which type of tag. And I'm going to be cutting a few extras that I may do at a later time. But I definitely want to get some of the interest from the Citra Solve or the raw Citra Solve page. Sometimes I can't fit it, so I have to actually tear so I can get the punch where I really, really, really want it. This one I found that looked like part of a tower that didn't totally dissolve. I wanted that in that particular one. I like having different shapes. And here's another one again with that orange. It must be because it's Halloween today. But I'm really grooving on the orange and some of the contrasts between the textures that you can see. So when I have the page when I want or where I want it, then I'll go ahead and punch. Otherwise, I just kind of play with it for a while. And yes, I do waste a little bit of paper when I'm doing piecework like this. I'm going to get quiet now and let you watch the rest of this process, and I'll be back. Okay, what you need for the next part are a few stencils. I have some here. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use. You could use larger ones, the 9x12s. You can do anything you want. I just had these out for the other tags, so I'm probably going to use them as well. I have some carbon black, and I have some Amsterdam white acrylic. I do have golden white acrylic, but I can't find it, so I'm going with what I pour with. You just want a paint that is not going to be too thin so it doesn't seep under the washi tape. And I guess we're ready to go. In this segment, I am going to show you how I use washi tape to block off a section of the tag, and then I will be adding black acrylic to that section. You'll see throughout the segment that sometimes I end up moving it. That's because I didn't like the placement. If you are very careful and pull slowly, you can get the washi tape back off, especially when you remember to put it on your hand first so it is a lower tack. Enjoy the music and the show, and I'll be back for the next segment. Now that I've done the bigger areas of black, I'm going to go back in with a stencil that looks interesting to me, and I'm going to add patterning to the rest of the tag. I've got the video going at twice the speed. You definitely want to make sure you get good coverage, so you'll see me throughout kind of looking, making sure I'm getting it, because you are working on a page that's had a solvent on it. So I would just want to make sure there's really, really good coverage before I lift off so I don't have to put it back. It's not one of my favorite things. I'm going to be working all of them the same way, and when I get back for the next step, I will stop the music and come back and tell you a little bit of what I did right and a little bit of what I did wrong. So I'm getting ready to add the to and from that was from a mail art stencil a few years ago in the club. And I realized that I really was into the patterning today, so I left very small slivers for me to add the to and from. So I took a pen, a white Sharpie, and added them, on some of them I added them that way. In the ones that were slightly larger, I did use the mail art. What you'll see in a minute or so is that one of them, I didn't pay enough attention, the square one that's on point, and I did not get the M and from on there. However, I had the white Sharpie and I went ahead and did that. Posca pens are great for this too. When you're done writing, let these dry and then add your favorite twine or thread, and you're all set to go with a unique gift tag. I'll see you next time on Stencil Girl Talk. Have a great holiday season.